You've heard that fiber is good for your health, but do you know the best sources to get fiber into your diet? Stick around and find out. Welcome back to Balanced Choice TV, a channel dedicated to helping you take back control of your life through nutrition, fitness, and health. We publish videos on how to lose weight, on health and general well-being, and videos on nutrition like this one. If that sounds interesting to you and helpful, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon so that you get notified of all of our future videos. Today's episode is a follow-on from our very popular YouTube video and podcast episode called The Fiber Controversy. In that episode, we discussed the importance of fiber in your diet, but we also provide the balanced view, putting forward the case for people that campaign against fiber, and then also the case as to why fiber is so important in your diet. If that sounds interesting to you, please make sure you do check out that episode. Today's episode then is a request from one of our viewers, Chris from Singapore, who asked for practical advice and some recommendations about the best sources of soluble and insoluble fiber and how do you get more fiber into your diet. So let's start with a few reminders from that episode. You'll recall that the generally considered advice on how much fiber you should get in your diet is between 38 and 50 grams per day for men and between 25 and 35 grams per day for women. But generally it's considered in the Western diet that people are getting less than half of that, and we really need to think about how we can get more fiber into our diets. Now for some definitions. You'll recall from the last episode that fiber is the indigestible part of our diet and generally comes from plants. But there are two distinct types of fiber. Soluble fiber attracts and retains water and tends to slow things down. It's wonderful for heart health because it acts as a transport for insoluble compounds such as cholesterol, fatty acids, and bile salts to be able to move through the body and to be excreted. Insoluble fiber is the stuff that wants to go through our body and keep things regular, keep our bowel movements regular, and also acts as a great food source for the bacteria in our colon and our large intestine. And the great news is that both soluble and insoluble fiber are wonderful for weight control and helping you to lose weight and keep it off. So let's get down to brass tacks and answer Chris's question about the best sources of fiber. The quick and easy tip is to think of it this way. Insoluble fiber creates the structure of plants and has that kind of stringy effect. So if you think about things like the skin of fruit or any fruits and vegetables that have got a more rigid structure, they're most likely going to be high in insoluble fiber. Whereas soluble fiber is more the mushy stuff, the stuff that creates a gel-like substance and also absorbs water and expands. And it can expand by up to 10 times its own weight. Good examples of this include the flesh of fruits, or you could think about things like rolled oats, where you soak them in water and you can see them expand. Now let's get down to some practical examples. Let's start with soluble fiber. One of the greatest sources of soluble fiber in your diet is whole rolled oats, which you would use for making things like porridge or oatmeal for your breakfast. The first tip is that whole rolled oats are far better than their cousins, the quick oats or the instant porridge or the instant oatmeal, because in that case, a machine in the factory has already done part of the work for you as they process the oats down into smaller portions. The other thing to be careful with is that many instant oatmeals and instant porridges are also full of sugar. So if you make your porridge with whole rolled oats or your oatmeal, you'll find that they'll be much more nourishing and far better for you. And to be frank, it really doesn't take that long to make porridge from scratch using whole rolled oats. I do understand the attraction of these instant oatmeal and instant porridge because many people are really busy. But in all honesty, it doesn't take that long to create porridge or oatmeal using whole rolled oats. Another option is to look at what we call overnight oats. And this is where you take your rolled oats and you soak them overnight in the milk of your choice. For me, it's whole full cream milk, but for you it might be almond milk or coconut milk or any other variant. You can also mix it up and make it really interesting. You can add some Greek yogurt, you can add some berries, you can add some bananas or even nuts and seeds in there, and it really makes a great breakfast the next morning. Quick and easy, have your breakfast and you're out the door and on the way to the office. You can also find rolled oats in other products such as really high quality and healthy mueslis, in muesli bars and protein bars. But be really careful and judicious here because many of those products can be high in sugar. So do your research and find a healthy muesli that's low in sugar, is low in glycemic index, and full of good nutrients and high in protein. Another tip to be careful of here is portion size. When you look at the recommended serving size for things like mueslis or other breakfast cereals, you'll find that the recommended serving is much smaller than you think. So please don't take a big muesli and just pour the whole thing into a big bowl. You do need to be a little bit judicious about how big that serving size is. We're going to have an upcoming episode on how to read nutrition labels that should actually help with some of these factors on researching and finding the right product for you. Other good sources of soluble fiber include things like sweet potato or kumara for our Kiwi friends. And you'll also find it in things like chia seeds and flax seeds and in lentils and chickpeas. And it's very much found in things like fleshy fruits like apples and pears, strawberries, and the wonderful, wonderful blueberries. You're also going to find that our good friend the avocado is also high in soluble fiber. The good news on avocados is that they can be used in so many different ways. You can do everything from smashed up avocado on multigrain toast through to guacamole, or my wife swears by having avocado smoothies. A quick tip about guacamole is it's really not that hard to make, and you'll find that if you make it yourself, you know exactly what ingredients have gone into it, and quite frankly, it tastes better when you've made it yourself and you know that everything is fresh. So the practical recommendations on how to get more soluble fiber into your diet include things like having that porridge or oatmeal for your breakfast, eating fleshy fruits like apples and pears, strawberries and blueberries, making sure that you're getting things like either chia seeds or flax seeds or lentils or even chickpeas into your diet. So chickpeas are the base ingredient for things like hummus. And then don't forget our good friend the avocado. Bring that into your diet for so many reasons. It's generally considered to be a superfood. Hey, you're watching Balanced Choice TV. We hope that you're enjoying the show. If you are, don't forget to smash that subscribe button and hit the little bell icon so that you get notified about future episodes. Okay, now we're going to move on to insoluble fiber. And you recall that this is the part that gives structure to plants. Great examples of insoluble fiber include carrots with their very rigid structure, zucchini with the skin on, cucumber with the skin on. It includes green beans in the pod, capsicum or bell peppers, as they're called in the United States, are all great examples of insoluble fiber. Other examples include dark leafy vegetables, cabbage, celery with its stringy nature. Brown rice is a good source of insoluble fiber with the husk still intact. It also includes things like spinach, broccoli, and cauliflower are all great examples of insoluble fiber. A key tip here is that most of these foods are better served either raw or only partially cooked. So be careful not to overcook your vegetables. Doing so takes away a lot of the nutrients that you're looking for and diminishes the impact on the insoluble fiber on your body. And quite frankly, they just taste better when they're fresher and they're crisper anyway. A great idea to increase the insoluble fiber in your diet is to snack on things like carrot sticks and cucumber and celery. If you're clever about it, you might even dip that carrot or the celery into something like hummus, and then you're getting some insoluble fiber and soluble fiber at the same time, and it makes a wonderful healthy snack, and it's really tasty. Another key strategy is to replace things like white rice with brown rice, and replace white bread with something like a good multigrain bread. Your body has to work much harder to break these items down and to digest them, making you feel full for longer, and you get the benefit of the insoluble fiber while you're at it. The next great tip is that many of the foods that we've spoken about today have good amounts of both soluble and insoluble fiber. So let's take the humble apple. An apple has, on average, 4 grams of fiber in each apple. 2 grams of that fiber is soluble fiber from the flesh of the apple, and the other 2 grams is insoluble fiber from the skin of the apple. So if you sit down and have an apple as a snack with the skin on, you're getting a good source of both soluble and insoluble fiber. The same could be said for things like cucumber with the skin on, pears, etc. So any fruit that you're having with the skin and the flesh, you're going to get a combination of soluble fiber and insoluble fiber at the same time. Another really good example is our superstar, the avocado. Avocados have got soluble fiber and insoluble fiber at the same time as delivering healthy fats into your diet. It's no wonder that people are considering more and more these days that an avocado truly is a superfood. One final reminder that we did mention in that last episode is that if you are finding that you don't have enough fiber in your diet today, please make sure that you increase gradually over time. If you go from 0 to 100, you will find yourself having a few bowel discomforts and stomach troubles along the way. So if you do fit into that camp, you do need to increase your fiber, but just increase it over a matter of a few weeks rather than overnight to avoid some of those stomach problems that you might encounter. Okay, that wraps up today's episode. We do encourage you to increase your fiber in your diet and to do so gradually. You need to be looking for a balance of soluble fiber, so wonderful for your heart health, and insoluble fiber to look after your gut health and your motility. If you liked today's episode, please go ahead and hit the thumbs up button down underneath the screen. And if you didn't like today's episode, hit the thumbs down button, but in doing so, hit that button twice. Please also, we encourage you to leave us some comments or some questions down below, and we promise to get back to you. And if you're liking the show and you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon so that you get notified of our future episodes. In the meantime, keep on watching for more great content, and please, always look to make a balanced choice.